And we're live.
What's up, Cornerstoners? My name is Johnny Warbucks, and welcome back to another installment of the Rapper's Corner. As always, I'm here with my crew, so over down there is my man, Sir Puffalot. We got the homie Kalishnikov Red right over there. And today we are chopping it up with one of the West Coast's most prominent rising star sound merchants, Mr. 616. With beats more sweeter than a Chico stick, the one kid who can dumb flip a drum kit, leaving eardrums drenched in synthesizer fire geysers.
Damn, that's nice.
Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do?
Man, my name is Kreacher K.
Yeah.
I'm a music producer, composer, imaginator, you know what I'm saying, of these ideas. I'm originally from Fresno, California, but I grew up in NorCal, like, you know what I'm saying, about an hour away from Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
I was always moving back and forth and whatnot. But what I do is I make beats, bro. I compose beats from the ground up. I've been doing it since 2001.
Yeah, 2001. That's a minute, man.
So you're basically, over 20 years deep, man, in this game. You're like 24 years into, right? 23 years, right?
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's changing. As far as being behind the computer and being behind the ins and outs of what it takes to get into the studios and different stuff. Yeah, it's been a journey, bro, for real.
Yeah, that is a journey. Let me ask you a question. When did you actually decide you wanted to start making music?
I think the first time I ever thought of it was when I observed a couple different artists and a couple different,
Yeah.
like entourages of friends and just friends of friends. And I seen that there was a kind of just like a phenomena, bro. Like there was these home studios, there was, rapping, spitting, breakdancing. A lot of my formidable years of, music making and stuff like that, like I was exposed to a variety of different, like the elements of hip hop, but they came in different forms, as far as like breakdancing and graffiti and stuff like that. And there would always be just this music element and, computers, keyboards. I just got into, it was probably around like 98, 99. I got behind some programs and stuff like that. 2001 essentially is when I first started selling beats.
Yeah, sure.
So I figured that there was, it depending on my business model and my direction I wanted to go with it. It happened early on, and I got exposed to these bigger ideas.
98, 99. So you were like, what, 9, 10 years old, right?
Yeah, dude. Like, doing music in the church, seeing musicians, and then eventually that translated into seeing records, seeing tape recordings, seeing actual reel to reel, and just being exposed to like the Motown side of things and getting a little glimpse into into the movies, like the Five Heartbeats and stuff like that.
That's a great movie, Temptation.
Yeah, bro. Like, I mean, it's the rising and falling, and the platforms, the capital, to get the music to where it was,
Right.
and I just kind of, I always kind of refer back to this idea, I am who I am because of everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what I was exposed to early on, the CD culture, the burning movies and music culture, the mixtape culture, essentially, that kind of fueled the idea to really take the business side of things to the next level. But early on, I started making beats, with friends and family members and stuff like that. And, it was never really any money involved, but the aspiration, to play in a band or something and get paid for a gig, like that was incredible thought, like I could do it for a living or have kind of something that could, financially facilitate like art kind of lifestyle,
Mm-hmm. Now, my experience with most artists, they usually end up having someone else in their life that has, a musical influence. Um,
Mhm.
for example, like, how did you start? Did you have anyone close in your family, friends that was already into music making that you were able to get inspired by or link up with?
Yeah, like my older brother, he kind of, paved the way for my interest in kind of, taking me around different circles of people that were creating music in the home studios and stuff like that. Um, and of course, everyone's human. You feel me? Like, and these artists, they some of them were still in the street, so they,
Yeah.
had different, things that that kind of made sense, just I mean, there's a variety of different ways, these different situations like that people find themselves, whether they're, they got a, like a gang background, a hood background or something.
Yeah.
um, I always been kind of inspired and by these different things I would encounter. And yeah, there's a lot of older cats that inspired me, in person and, icons and stuff like that
Of
throughout
course.
the years. Um, but yeah, just seeing the human element that, there's a lot of stress in the world and a lot of, environmental stuff, that keeps people looking behind their shoulder, or, you
Right.
know, but to come home and to get involved with some music making kind of stuff. And I started to see that it was like really political at the end of the day. And
Mad politics
so
stuff.
I got a quick question that may be actually a couple questions and one question. You're from the West Coast, and I've heard your beats, and your beats are unique. They don't really fall under a certain Southern rap, West Coast rap, East Coast rap, or style beats. Like, would you say like you are influenced by the East Coast, or would you say you're influenced by the West Coast? Like when we talk about producing and beat making. And then my other question, and if it's a little too personal, my bad, but what's your background? Because the reason I ask is because to me, I'm assuming here you seem Latin. Okay, so
yeah,
yeah, and in California, there's a very like the hip hop Latin scene is very big, but
yeah,
it's specific. It's like Chicano rap, Chicano
mhm,
style beats. It's not
yeah,
like other stuff like that. So when I hear your music, they don't. I don't think Chicano rap. I think your own unique style. So I was just
mhm,
wondering like how you feel about like the West Coast only having that one specific sound as a
mhm,
producer, and also if you have any like Latin background in your music making, like and you hear like the drums or any sampling, and
mhm,
if that could lead on to maybe your way of making beats, like you sample, do not
mhm.
sample, and so on and so forth. So
Okay. Um, so the West Coast scene is, just like every other scene out there, is a concoction of many styles and
Sure.
their sound selection has origins of, you know, like a lot of the West Coast beats there, like a lot of the early sampling of Dr. Dre and the whole, East Coast, West Coast thing. A lot of the samples being utilized came from the East Coast or from around the globe,
Sure.
but essentially it was published in these regions, and there was, if you look into it, if you put a little research into it, yeah, there's, some agendas at play, for
Mhm.
certain records to be pushed. I remember there was that QC DVD, Beef. You remember that? They kind of
yeah,
featured a lot of the beefs,
Watch
and
many a beef VHS tape.
right, man, and there'd be producer beefs. There'd be like, there'd be these
Yeah.
situations where samples were being, shown at a studio, from, for an example, I think it was uh, what was it? Be Legit and them. They played a record, and then like Ice Cube heard it and ended up using it on his album, and there was this whole situation. Could have been avoided, but it is who published it first, and who's gonna sample a certain part first and stuff like that. But as far as like the West Coast sound, right? Um, Everybody has a style, and the style that's popular right now tends to have a certain soundtrack to the music, right? I mean, a soundtrack to their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the beat is essentially designed in a certain way that I mean, there's some origins, and it's kind of hard to really pinpoint it. Some of the producers have come, gone, you know, some of them have changed their style based on trying to expand, their horizons, and, they make trap music now or something, opposed to this West Coast sound that they first started with. So there's a lot of different examples, but at the end of the day, there's a certain flow that goes to these beats out here in the West Coast. And there's probably, I would say, maybe 5 at the most, as far as drum kit wise. So I look at songs kind of like in a broken up sort of way. So there's the drums, there's the melody, then there's the 808s. And those are
Mm-hmm.
essentially the 3 like major things to complete a beat. And if you can figure out how to, the ins and outs of what it takes to get a beat or to get a drum kit to sound a certain way, that's always been something that fascinated me. You know, I remember the first time I heard somebody rap over like someone else's beat, and I was kind of shocked. Like, this is probably like around like 2003, 2004. I seen this, and it kind of like hot, I thought to myself, how did you get a copy of the beat? Like off the internet or what? You know what I'm saying? Because these are like early days of the internet.
Sure.
And I mean, at least for me,
Yeah,
that
was us.
man.
at least for me, bro, like I didn't really have a background. I mean, I had a background in computers, old ass computers, but at the end of the day, there was, programs and, different stuff I got involved with that, opened my eyes to a lot of different stuff.
You ever start off with like hardware first? Because I had to start off with hardware. There was no programs when I started.
Yeah, I started with hardware, programming keyboards, trying to get the sequencers, trying to lay out
Yeah,
beats
with keyboards on
on
the
the
hardware.
Tritons. Yeah.
So what was your first piece of hardware that you ever got?
First piece of hardware was an MPC, but it was like a used one, right?
Nice.
And just trying to learn the ins and outs of the way of programming, and then that led me to the different TR-808s or the different bow, the Boss drum machines, and then eventually but I didn't personally had them. I actually went to studios. I never really had my own hardware and stuff like that. I never had a computer for years. Like I was always being introduced to somebody to get into a studio, and then like I have countless stories of how I met different the celebrity types in the music game early on before they blew up and stuff like that, or just being in the same kind of area, same environment, same studios, the same
But
kind of
by
like hang spots.
2001, you got yourself into. You had a computer at that point, and software, your DAW.
2001, yeah, I had FL Studio 4, you know what I'm saying? And I got into sequencing a little bit on there, but I was using Magic's Music Maker.
Hey, that's what I use, man.
You know what I mean? Like my older brother
day.
showed me it, you know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, we're and he's using samples and he's stacking the samples. And of course, from a musician background, that was always looked down upon. And so I'd always be like, oh, I don't feel right making beats on this Magic Music Maker thing.
Yeah.
And then, and I mean, and then the snowball effect happened. And then and then the mixtape culture came about, which gave way to computers being sold with CD burners. So now you got CD burners, and then you got blank CDs. And, okay, so it looks like there's a kind of like a roadmap here, and then eventually like that gave way to people appearing on the street, corners and stuff like that, selling CDs out the trunk.
Yeah, dog. Out the trunk of the cars, man.
Man, it happened in different, time periods and different, areas, all over the place, But what I've experienced on the West Coast, yeah, bro, it was highly prevalent. From the Chicano rap scene to, a lot of the different like hood cats, the Trill TV was a big movie.
Yo, shout out Trill.
You know what I'm saying? Mac Dre and like a lot of
big time around your way, Mac Dre.
Yeah, like I remember the first time that DVD came around,
Yeah,
Uh,
you know, it's just interesting because yeah, you're right. I mean, at different times because like in the early '90s, you had that one sound, you know, that
mm,
analog keyboard, all that. It had that
mm,
sound, but like if you look at like the West Coast today, it doesn't necessarily have that
mm,
sound anymore. I mean, there may be one or two songs like that, and then it's like nowadays, it's like you have when you listen to the radio, you're like, wait, you got Jay-Z on like a Jermaine Dupri beat that's released in California. You know what I mean? So you got like, and it's all like sounds the same. It doesn't have its New York sound,
Kind of
Southern
all meshed
sound,
together.
right? It's like at this
yeah.
point, it's. I feel like we've gotten to that point where the uniqueness of certain regions has kind of dwindled and became just one sound. And I
Mm,
don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if that's evolution or going
mm,
backwards. All I know is that a lot of people now have access to making music,
Yeah.
including myself.
mm,
Right.
yeah.
So like I I you know tried everything from breaking to turntablism to graffiti
Mm,
to rapping. Now I'm doing the beat making. So like for me, I love Magic,
mm.
but I used Studio One and I use also Soundtrap, which is
Oh yeah.
pretty interesting stuff. What Soundtrap can do. When we talked, you were talking about a certain specific like app, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
still using that or?
Yeah, yeah. So, so throughout the music making kind of adventure, it's an adventure book. You know, you create your own adventure. A
Yeah.
do-it-yourself culture, that's out there. You get involved with creating content. Um, I found all kind of different, DAWs. The DAW programs. The host to make beats on. Um, so I used FL Studio for a lot of years, and then
Bro, bro. Let's go through
whatever.
the checklist. You ready?
All right,
I'm gonna say you're gonna say yes or no. Ready?
all right, all
Okay,
right.
we already know Fruity Loops. So Fruity Loops check.
Okay,
Right?
Fruity Loops. Yep.
Right? Reason.
Reason check.
Appleton Live.
I got into Ableton here and there, but I never really started sequencing on there.
I hate that. I hate that program.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of cats in
No
the
shout
dance
out.
music. There's a lot of Afrobeat art. I mean, there's boom bap artists that, I mean, producers that are making beats on Ableton like crazy. That are utilizing the chord generators and all the different aspects of them.
Logic.
No, Logic, I never got into it. But my homie records vocals on an iPad with Logic Pro on the iPad, so it's equivalent
Really?
to Pro Tools.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Next one, Pro Tools.
Pro Tools. I've sequenced out some beats on there and like stemmed. I had like my beat tracked out, and stemmed out. The whole beat. I've thrown that on Pro Tools, and I've added some instruments and stuff like that on there.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but it's been done.
Yeah. Pro Tools has been around forever.
Cool Edit Pro and Pro Tools, man. That's where I did all my mixing and editing for all of my vocals on tracks, man. That was my livelihood back in around that way, 2000 somewhere in there.
Oh man.
Yeah, I love my Pro Tools, Cool Edit Pro. I loved all that shit.
Yeah, man. We used to do some stuff and you used to mix it down really good, man. I remember that shit.
What? And I remember back then they said that Pro Tools back then was like 10,000, like straight up.
Bro, and thank God for like all of these message boards and shit, man. I mean, no lie. I mean, look, where's your proof? I might just be making this up. I might just be telling you a story. I might be talking about somebody else. But they used to like, sometimes I heard that people would like put like codes out on these message boards where you could just like
rack them up.
own right out these like $10,000 programs, man, right there on the group. That's what I heard.
That's what you heard.
That's what I heard. I don't know, but like, I'm just saying.
Man,
yeah, dog. That's how
it's still going on.
Yeah, of course, that shit's still going on. What the fuck, man? Like. Yo, anyway, I'm sorry. Yo, Puff, did you have another piece of the checklist here?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we could keep going. We know we got Magix on the list, right?
Yeah, Magix is on there a little bit, yeah.
All right.
I mean, so Magix, I was pulling samples from their internal library, and even that felt kind of like iffy, you know what I'm saying?
So you don't sample then at all? Like
he samples.
I sample
all day.
I sample.
But he finds his own samples.
Okay.
I'm I'm a
other
big, you know,
people's like
I be crate digging, bro.
it.
Like in the
Preach, I was
digital
watching
space,
some video
vinyls.
of you breaking down. You were like, all right, I'm going to take this thing from this movie. I got this thing from like Fleetwood Mac, and then I'm
Yeah,
going to
we're
get.
gonna show
And
we're
then,
gonna show that
dude, it was like
today on
4
the
or 5
Yeah,
show.
bro,
different
it's
things. And
wild.
then you're like, now I'm just going to add some of my own shit in here, and this is what it is
Yeah,
when
it's
it's all
just
put
fucking
together.
tight.
It was a dope little video, dog. Like, I
Yeah.
love stuff like that because people like me who
Mm.
don't produce were able to like visually be like, word, look what's happening right here.
Look
And
at
then,
this. Look at this. And I got like crates after crates, man.
and he's
Bro,
and he's sitting
yeah,
here
we need to start.
manipulating like the different like pitches and stutters and all that, all those filters and shit. It was cool.
No,
man.
man, I see some of your videos, man, and that inspired me. I haven't done one yet, and I see Sir Puff does a lot of them too.
Yeah, you got to get down on those.
I do got to make
Because
like
the
a
heads,
video.
listen, they see those and they're like, where does this go?
Yeah, but I don't want to show them where like my secrets where I get my like.
Do something just for it. Just do something just for that.
Right?
Post stuff that's
Creature's like giving people tutorials. Chris is like,
But yo, but
No.
you even did that.
No.
Like there was a video where you're like walking, you're like, here's the play-by-play of how I manifest this, like in your car. It was fucking great.
Okay,
like the car was driving.
All right,
like,
I can do something like that.
You know, it was a
Right.
cool little video, dog. But like, yeah, I mean, I think that if you plan for like you pulled that out of the sky for that video. You were like, I'm just gonna show you how this works. I'm gonna do that.
Mm.
You know,
Yep.
you don't have to. Your magic can stay in the thing.
My magic stays in my magic.
And your magic, in your magic box, magic card deck.
Right?
No, it's cool, man. It's cool, and like I really do appreciate that you stuck so long with this, and you know, making beats and giving to the culture, man. Because like a lot of people, because of life, you know, it's like we have a couple friends. We could all rap, right? But like. At least he's still here doing this, but I got a couple other friends who just don't do nothing anymore.
And it's a shame, man.
You know, and it's like, and it's life happens. You know, it's not like they you know, they want to do it, but you know, life happens. But it's cool, man. It's cool you kept up this long, man, and I really do hope you keep on for the rest of your life. Like me, I'm always gonna make beats and write lyrics until my fingers don't work. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
and it's always learning, man. So real quick though, like. What kind of genre specifically do you like to sample, like when you make your beats, or is it just
all right? So this is a gem right here, bro. I'm gonna get to the answer. You know what I mean, to respond to that. You know, but I just want to first say that like I studied the different spheres of music, you know what I'm saying?
Dog.
I didn't go to school for it. Yeah, like I was fortunate enough to be introduced to a variety of different characters. You know, they look like they came straight out of Grand Theft Auto, you know what I'm saying?
Yo.
And you know, they all had like, they weren't NPCs, like they have a life of their own, like they're living, breathing icons that I came across, and they were everyday people that, you know, showed me the, you know, different styles and their love for different things. And I just kind of figured out that, a country fan is not going to go to a rap concert, you know, or, you know, there's these different demographics. And, you know, the whole thing about like, you know, it's not what you like, it's what the consumer likes, you know, it's as far as like a business standpoint.
I can appreciate that.
So I studied a lot of the styles, you know, and you know, we talked about the West Coast thing a little bit, how there's kind of like a fixed kind of beat, and they all sound the same. I mean, it's all sounds the same because they want to rap on that beat. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that looks like an advantage for someone like me. So where I could actually make something like that and kind of, you know, I could knock out some content like that and sell it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Essentially, and because there's a market for it and stuff like that. But the style samples and the style music that I like to sample, and you know, a lot of the stuff I go for. So this is the hidden gem. It's called AOR rock. Right.
AOR. That's
AOR.
AOR.
What does AOR stand for?
There's a different, you know, there's a whole bunch of different definitions, or, you know, like different stuff. But I've seen one that was like adult oriented rock. So AOR. Another one is city pop music, which is like a Japanese kind of style records, and they, you know, they came out in other regions, but there's a certain type of chord progression, a certain type of sound.
Yeah.
I've always been searching for things. Like I remember my earliest memory, and this is directly linked to sampling. I'd be at my grandma's house, you know what I'm saying? And she had a little TV and it would play these music videos. And this was like around like 98, 99, maybe 96, 95, just like a whole bunch of different time frames. And I'd always see these different music videos playing. And I'd always be like, whoa, that would be crazy to sample that. I knew about sampling and I knew, you know, Pink Floyd and them was sampling. I knew about, you know, samples as far as, I mean, I figured that stuff was being sampled, but coming to the realization as I grew up that no, people were literally taking records and taking parts of them and stuff. That kind of blew me away. You know what I'm saying?
Open my gamut, man, because the thing that gravitated me to music was hip hop, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, by the time I got into it, but in the music period, but like, yeah, you hear some record and then you go somewhere. I don't know where you go, but you hear that record. You know what I mean? But you're like, wait a minute, that ain't Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre. That's the Isley Brothers and Marvin Gaye and shit. And so you're like, well, let me go and check that out. Particularly in our era where we had access to it, thanks to things like LimeWire and Napster and all that. That I was able to branch out, you know, and then heads like him introducing me to rock and roll music, right? Like that opened up my whole landscape audibly, and it completely changed the way I was writing shit, like where my head was gonna go, what kind of things I was gonna reference, and things that you don't know where that inspiration is gonna come from. So yeah, man, being able to bounce around outside of those different genres, man, is it's crucial.
Yeah, man, like,
Wow.
you know, that's why I brought up that question, because like I grew up, you know, my dad and my mom used to listen to a lot of South American 60s, 70s music. So like names like Los Iracundos, Hierro, like all these people that like as I grew up, I would listen to like Funk Dubious, be like, yo, like yeah,
That's where that came from. That shit,
or like Delinquent Habits, or you know anything like
Beat
that.
Nuts.
Beat Nuts specifically.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so like I would be like, yo, like that's cool that they know at least know of like this type of music. You know what I mean?
Sometimes the sample itself is an homage, man.
Right. And then so as time progressed, though, it's like I because I'm an MC to begin with, and then I went to the production aspect, right? But it's surprising to me. I don't know, is it surprising to you? Or I know I talked to Sir Puff, but like, to me, it was mad surprising to see how many MCs don't know how to make beats. Like,
Yeah,
like,
because people gotta master the craft. You want to get good at something, you should just focus on that one thing, you know. But jack of all trades is a great thing too, but it's a lot of work, especially when you get good at both at the same time.
We can't all be Prince, man.
Hey,
no, some of us can only be Michael Jackson, man. We just sing and dance.
you can be the king at it.
Like I did both at the same time. I started actually with music first, so my music's always been better than my raps. That's just, you know, my beat making side is stronger than my rap side. Like
like like your strengths and like your weaknesses, you know, in certain fields. Like I mean, I've always kind of admired the whole thing, like you know, to try to study everything until you're 40, you know, and try to learn everything. And I'm getting into everything in so many ways, but I focused in on the music side of it because I mean, there's so much jam packed, you know, in it. You know, I could meet an artist and figure out the type of beat that he wants. And it's kind of a psychological thing because at the end of the day, I want to succeed in, you know, being cool with someone, not really turning them off. I mean, and that's what happens. You know, a reggae artist meets a trap artist.
Yeah, I mean, come on. This clash is like the vibe. It's like the worst thing, like when a record company, like puts up like a producer with an artist, and
we need you two are hot right now, so you're gonna do something together, and like, that's what happened with that, you know.
I mean, you could be in the same room with the person, you could meet people, and that's the whole thing about the, you know, like you know, the whole thing about networking, right? So you know, you go to these functions, these different events and stuff like that, and you have the opportunity to be in front of the right people, but I mean, they might be a completely different genre than you or something, and people get along, you know, or I mean, they might do the same song, or I mean, they might jump on a song, or they might be something there, but for the most part, I'm just trying to point out that people are unique, you know, and what they like and stuff like that. Even though they're not that far apart, you know.
Yeah, and you could get the sound down. Like
Yeah.
they'll rip it, but also depends on their mood at the time. Like when they
Hmm.
hear it, they might like it right
Yeah.
when they hear it, or they might like it not at first,
Hmm.
but then like hear it again a month or 2, 3 months later, or a year or two, three late years later. You don't even know. It could take that. What? That was 3 years ago. I sent that to you. Now you feeling it?
Yo, that's real though, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes that shit just hits right.
Notice how both of us laugh
Yeah.
because it's happened to us. Like,
Yeah.
send us shit
Something
like
about
that.
it, bro. Yeah.
Like,
They're
nah, them three. Yo, send me
It's like
that shit.
fucking fire, man. I mean, just bring the pulling shit out of the woodwork. Yo,
mm,
Creech, QWERTY keyboard technique. What is that, and why are you known for it?
the QWERTY keyboard technique was something that I came across when I had a keyboard class. And there was this kind of like I mean, it's a class in, grade school or whatever.
Yeah.
And they gave you a rundown of the QWERTY family, how that was the people that instituted how all the keyboards were laid out. Why is it so significant? Is that when I started using FL Studio, I didn't have a MIDI controller. I barely had a
Oh
computer.
shit!
Or
You had
I
these
was
actual like keyboard on your
Yeah,
keyboard
so I was
computer
caught in the crosshairs of not having my
or
own
the mouse.
stuff. So I would go to like different spots, and these rundown computers, I would install these different versions of FL Studio. I don't know where it came from, bro. My earliest memory of I don't know where it came from
Yeah.
was blocking one of the little holes on the tape cassette and recording by yourself. I don't know where that came from, bro. I just thought of it one day and I just did that shit at my grandma's. You feel me? And I was recording stuff off the radio and essentially recording with the microphone in
Yo, that's what we used to do, dog.
this little vintage boombox.
Yeah.
And it just came from, I mean, there's got to be a source, but just the idea of the ingenuity behind it, I guess maybe the circumstance. I mean, I was a grandchild that was the only one that would go to my grandma's and like stay for long periods of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
So I'd be over there with the radio and that TV. You know what I'm saying? And it was, I mean, it was a gateway to the world. That showed me that there was a bigger, spectrum of things, and there was a main stage that people find themselves with this
Good
music
times,
potentially.
right?
Yeah, dude. Like it was crazy. But as far as like the QWERTY keyboard, I just got behind it, bro. And I had the typing class. You gotta
Yeah, man.
and
QWERTY
stuff.
right there in the center. That's how you learn to type.
Right. FL Studio has this feature where you can use the keyboard, and a lot of programs, a lot of beat making
Yeah,
programs.
Magix does that too.
Magix had it.
I didn't have
There was an early version. Yep.
Yeah.
Magix was there. It was a little bit spread out.
Yeah, it was.
GarageBand. I there'd be some years later. I seen like a old ass Mac computer, and it had GarageBand, and I looked into it.
GarageBand, yeah.
It had the typing thing too. I was like, oh, okay, but I didn't get into those. But FL Studio had it. You know what I'm saying? And right. I could achieve. I mean. So there's two different octaves, and the note is a Y and an N, bro. So it's like a Ouija board. You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's like
so
it's like a yes and no. You know?
And playing chords is hard with that, with the actual keyboard. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, you're more spaced out. You're do. You know, there's a lot of
fingers gonna be like on the numbers and the letters.
Like
pain signs on the show, man.
But yeah, bro. And then eventually, I went from the QWERTY keyboard to the touchscreens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, I never done touch screens, so like that's pretty cool.
No, we did that the other day. Remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Doing something on touchscreen?
On the tablet. Tablet.
Yeah.
Remember, you were killing it. You were like rocking it for like fucking 3 hours. This guy made a
bet.
fucking show.
Oh,
like,
one of those beat programs?
Yeah, I had it on my tablet.
What?
He came over and he was like rocking it for 3 hours. He like gave us like a free show. Like he was like,
I guess.
Man.
Preach, I'm gonna ask one more and then I'm gonna tap out to let everybody else kind of take over here. But non-conventional mono poly synth playing abilities. Can you explain what that means in layman's terms for us basic ass people?
Okay, so polyphonic is when you can play chords, so you can play multiple keys, and then monophonic is pretty funkadelic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's a certain style that kind of resembles like Zapp and Roger. You know what I'm saying? Because
sure.
as we know, the talk box utilizes a keyboard, and you got to play with a monophonic setting on your keyboard, and so you could blend the notes, so you can go down, 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 down. It's pretty similar
Mm.
to the
Yeah,
Dr. Dre whistle and stuff like that.
Oh,
So you
sure.
could
Okay.
change that setting.
yeah. But
So with the
polyphonic, they're not used to. Yeah.
yeah, polyphonic, you can play multiple notes. So you could do chords. You know, what I mean, you could pull up a Roland, like that. What is it called? Like the mini Moog. And but there's a whole bunch of different companies that came out with their own mini Moog that's better than the actual Roland company's mini Moog.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I'm saying?
the Roland was like the first, like the 303,
Right?
the
Yeah.
TB 303 with that like
303, that silver one, bro. I remember having one of those. I came across it at a yard sale, but it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? But
ah
but
no, needs a new fuse probably.
right, I mean, it probably just needed batteries. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
But but I had it, and but I mean, I eventually try to, but I plugged it in, and yeah, I think it worked because it had a little DC jack on there.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
but polyphonic, yeah, it is a
So
lot of
polyphonic.
notes.
I mean, there's something with those funkadelic melodies, right? Something
Yeah,
that inspired, the Parliament Funk and various groups to get into this psychedelic. Uh, I mean, and if you look into the histories, there's a lot
yeah,
of drug use, a
yeah.
lot of
And and it,
just
and and
heavy,
that's what's
heavy into
funny.
it.
That's what's funny with like certain genres of music. Like if you go
Mm.
to like play oldies for the homies, everyone's gonna start fighting. You go, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right?
you know, and then you go to like a play like a fish go to fish concert.
Shit.
Then everyone be doing drugs, like
Yeah.
crazy shit like that. Music does have culture, like just for its genre or the band itself.
Mm.
Like you know,
Oh, of
so,
course, man.
Yeah. Yeah. If you play the right music, it'll move the room, bro.
yeah,
And I mean, from a DJ standpoint,
That's a quote.
that works.
Cool.
But from a producer standpoint, like being taken to a studio, they got one of the main producers that shines all day. And I go in there as a young kid, um, and someone just gives me a little opportunity, bro, and that's like I better make it. So being under pressure, kind of fueled a lot of what I got going on.
right.
Like early on, before I got into selling beats and stuff, there's a lot of pressure, as far as being in the same room with, these wild, savage, lunatic type characters,
Yo,
with guns on the table and shit like that.
yo.
Just make a
Yeah.
beat, motherfucker. Make a beat. Like,
I want
Yeah,
a discount.
I mean,
I don't
in
want to
so
pay
many
3. I
words,
want to pay 1, and we're doing that, right?
yeah, like I mean, real,
That's rough, man.
insane kind of situations. And I took the initiative to play the right sound, bro, and it just went up from there to where I felt like a sense of fear, but it all kind of faded away once once I got behind the QWERTY keyboard. Then I
Yeah,
started
man.
to lay out the thing, and I already knew where I was getting at, so I built the drum kit real fast. And I pressed play on the drum kit, and I had the beat play, and I just started adding the instruments. So the workflow essentially is what saved my life. You feel me?
Mhm.
Uh, whether it had been on a time crunch, or just trying to keep things, within a time frame. I have an hour session, or like I can get my time management down. You can achieve anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Got goals and you plan it out and take the time to put in the hard work.
but at the same time, a lot of the stuff is improvised, and you have to, have,
Wing it? No, never.
I mean, have that to be kind of like a intuitive force that you could like lean on at times,
Yeah.
uh, if improving is the go-to, but you never know what you're up against. I've dealt with
Well,
tons
that's
of
interesting.
artists.
Like when you, okay, sorry, not to interrupt you, but when you
Oh
think
yeah.
about like improving, when you say that, like nowadays, remember back in the day when people used to freestyle,
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
they were literally like freestyling off the top of the dome,
yeah.
right? Right? Like, have you noticed in the last like 10 years, like people freestyle is like just having a memorized verse?
Mm,
Okay. So
it's wild.
improvising, like, see, that's a totally different skill now. It's like a actually, it's I'm seeing a skill that's being lost on like, and no one else is seeing that it's getting lost like that, like because everyone is now seeing that them spitting things they've memorized is being what the word freestyle is. So
Mm-hmm.
so
The
that
word is a little blurred lined a little bit, right? Like, all
and
right, I'm gonna go and do this freestyle on this radio, and it's a completely rehearsed thing. I always
Mm-hmm.
kind of looked at it as like off dome freestyle, like that's your street corner off the top. You're in the cipher freestyle, right? But then there's the studio freestyle. It's a free verse that is not being implicated to any uh, structure for a song. It's a free verse. It's a verse that you are just giving over a beat that's already been heard before that you're
Mm-hmm.
just putting out for a show. It's to promo something, and so yeah, I'm a little more loose with that. There's a lot of cats where it's like, no, this is what you're either freestyling or you're not. But I think
it's kind of
formatically,
like the same thing with like the beat. Sorry, John, but like how
yeah, no,
you don't want to use magic samples, like because you that the you it's not like the skill is not there. We're
Mm-hmm.
losing the
Yeah.
skill. Like while the world doesn't know the difference as artists.
That was an early memory, you know what I'm saying? When I first like that was like in like 2002, 2003. I started using FL Studio before Magix. My interpretation of the skill level thing. I mean, take a look at all different kind of mediums, and
sure,
try to look at all the different techniques and the different methods behind how to get a sound a certain way and stuff
Yeah,
like
it
that.
shows. It shows. It shows. We're going to show people how you show that today.
Right? Yeah, man. So as far as like what other DAWs I've used and stuff, you know, I use a lot of iOS
mm,
applications, for the
sure,
iPhone and iPad. So I use Koala Sampler. It's, came out maybe the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And it's just been in development, and the audience and the fan base feedback
Yeah.
plays a crucial kind of thing in updating the app, but keeping it pretty simplified and straight to the point. There's not an arranger on there, so you have to arrange it all in real time, and you have to, I'm not using it as a sketchpad
I know.
program. I'm using it as a full-on
Yeah.
DAW, right? So I'm using this technique that Jay Dilla used, that he basically would do a record song mode, and he would render out the whole beat live,
Like
and he
on
was
MPC though, right?
Yep, and you would switch the scenes, and you would basically have access to the scene change-ups,
yeah,
and then the effects panel. So I have to go back and forth in between those, but then also keep the integrity of the verses and the hooks and the
Right.
layout of the song. And so I work with BA. You had him on the podcast.
shout out to BA man,
Um, yeah,
dope MC, dope cat,
yeah, bro. We got a lot of different projects in the works right now. He's got Booth Presence. He got the Mayday project.
yo,
He's got a project with his engineer Bama coming out too.
dope,
And our workflow is, we sit down, he writes a verse, I make the beat, and then we render the beat out live. And it's pretty reminiscent of like what they would do like in the Motown days, where all the musicians and the artists and the microphones and everything would all be in one room, and then they just press play, and then they
Yeah.
render out the whole song, and that's the whole song. So the drums are mic'd up, the guitars, everything is connected, and somehow it's all put together. Um, and
We're gonna show a video today
yeah.
with you using the koala sampler stuff with
yeah. I'm
your.
excited to see it because that's fresh, man. I don't know much
Mm,
about it.
yeah, yeah.
We'll we'll see it today.
So the koala sampler is a mobile beat making like a state of the art software that's a point and shoot style production application,
Yeah, okay,
and or at least I use it that way. You know what I'm
sure,
saying?
Hmm.
Because I've seen that
It's really cool too. When we
yeah,
watch it,
there's a way to
you guys will dig it.
there's a way to essentially perform the beats.
Yeah, live.
And when I render out a song, it's just it's a performance,
It
and
looks
it
much
renders out.
cooler. It looks much cooler than you said. Call it. I call it Appleton. You call it Ableton.
Can, 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 can I ask a question real quick before
Yeah.
because we're getting close to that time where we're going to show the videos.
Mhm.
But as a producer, And as a person that works with rappers, and you see both perspectives, right? Like, what's your take on now the artificial intelligence that's happening with the music industry? Do you think it's a helpful thing? Because tomorrow I could be like, hey, to the artificial intelligence, be like, make me a beat that sounds like X. And I got a beat that sounds like X in a matter of seconds. And it's like,
I've seen it with trap. They do trap. I've seen a trap one already.
so, so,
Pretty
and the
wild.
same as an MC, it's like, yo, write me a 16 bar verse. In 2 seconds, you got that verse, and it's like,
Yeah, but so far the verses I've seen suck like from AI. But the trap beats they figured that out pretty easy. I don't know why they can't do boom bap and stuff.
so I mean, but not yet.
Yeah.
So
Not yet, I guess.
So
And the
what,
raps need to evolve too. They're not yet.
Right.
They can't replace a human. No way. No way.
There's AI that's assisting all of the elements. I mean, it first started with the dancing, to some degree, the algorithm with TikTok and the breakdancing kind of the different dance styles and the Fortnite dances and that gave a whole thing with that. We got the graffiti, which as we see now, they got that building in LA with all those tags. It's a whole like skyscraper.
Crazy.
Then we got the MC. There's different ways to write your verse. You could say, hey, can you write me a Tupac verse in '98?
Right.
And he's doing a song with someone he never did a song with. Then you got a situation where artists are paying. Big artists are giving a platform to AI to do features, and so I could be a little guy and want to get a feature with Grimes, AI, which is an AI model of the Grimes chick. She's a female artist, producer, and so you can go buy a feature, and in a lot of cases those don't actually get like they don't have them go through. They get like red flagged even though you pay for them. So I mean, people are trying to use AI for a whole bunch of different methods. In the producer world, the latest fad is AI stemming. So I could take a sample and I could stem it out from the. I could separate. It's called stem separation. So you can separate the drums, the bass, the keys, the vocals,
and the acapellas and stuff. Yeah,
the acapellas. You can get the MIDI files. You can get the arrangements, the compositions.
There's the
Rip
DAW, right? Rip Dog.
Yeah, right.
It's the AI one.
And I mean, they're getting better and better. And you could type in a text prompt with the QWERTY keyboard. You could type in something and tell it, hey, I want the Brazilian music or the boom bap.
Have you tried that Vocella thing with your just like humming stuff? I haven't tried that yet.
Or you could take any acapella. You could take someone just kind of goofing off, and you can make it into something. The AI will analyze it. So it's assisting things, and or the image AI stuff, or the video, or the image to video. So you could have a still image of yourself, and you could map stuff out. You could erase stuff. You could change your background, your shirt. You could change. It's like what the hell?
Do you know who Calle 13 is or Residente?
Sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah. Calle 13 was like a reggaeton cumbia type thing that came out, but it became more like just cumbia, and then it became more like hip hop. Yeah. So Rene is like the MC, and they're from Puerto Rico, and they just put out an entire album. Every video, the art, every song, everything literally is made from AI. So the whole entire production album, everything to just the cover of the CD is AI. Crazy. So it's like the first time that anybody's ever done anything that's completely AI when it comes to hip hop, at least. Yeah. So I mean, I see good from it, but I also see a lot of like not bad, but opportunities to some that may not qualify. Like I don't know.
It's a big rainbow. It's not black and white in a gray scale.
In that way, it's exactly like the internet, man. It's like there's a lot of amazing things about the internet. There's a lot of absolutely disgusting, horrible things about it.
Yeah. And the AI, I mean, it could be abused, Like, of course. I mean, if you give everyone the tool and give them access, I mean, you could just sign up with your email and You could use the open AI, you know, and you could have them writing your homework, you know.
Right.
So both you, Sir Puff and Creature, where do you see music going in the future with AI involved? Do you think that there will be a need for producers anymore?
Yeah, of course, always.
I mean, not
Who,
necessarily, but
who's
of
good?
course,
No, come on.
we got the stuff that Kanye said, right? About you don't even need a microphone to perform. You know, you could use the smoke, you know, and that could be
Mm,
essentially a biggest aspect of
But
the
it
show
can't
itself.
remove. It can't remove. If you want to do something good, you need the human touch, in my opinion.
I
mm,
think it's beyond the human touch, bro. I think that
Mm,
in the world, in the realm of hip hop as a genre and as a culture, one of the
mm,
biggest elements that are super, super important to the credentials of being a true artist in this genre
But if
is
someone
often
just,
is authenticity. And
yeah,
authenticity is never going to be replicated or duplicated by a machine. It
I
can be
agree.
done, but it will
mm,
never ever be what is Creature or you or
Yeah.
me. Like
See what?
you can't replace authenticity
Yeah.
by
What we're
just
about to
saying, "Hey,
see.
do that on the thing." It won't ever
What,
work.
what we're yeah,
yeah,
you're right, absolutely right. What we're about to
mm,
see, what Creature is about to show us with his little clips, we're gonna see authenticity right here.
Right here and right now. Yeah, I guess we at that mark, huh?
mm.
Yeah,
Yo,
because
Creech.
AI is never gonna be able to replace what he's about to show us. What he's doing, it's just not. It's not. He's gonna use it as a
no,
tool,
yeah,
but he's got to have the human touch who's behind that, controlling everything. That's my opinion,
right, yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he shows a good
It's
example of that right
assisting, and I'm
here.
cool with that. I'm
Yeah,
mm.
totally cool with
yeah,
that.
And
I
yeah.
love the idea,
also,
like me as an artist that can't produce beats. If I can go into an
mm,
app and hum this rhythm that's in my head, and be like,
mm,
make that into violins, and Bing, I have what I
That's
was
cool.
thinking right there. Now I can start using that as the grounds for
But
something
see,
else.
but
That's a
see,
Yeah, you
beautiful
can make a
thing.
good demo.
no, but see, that would have been asked of me or you.
mm,
Yeah, but half of the time I'll be like, "Yo, man, I'm trying to do this thing, right? I want you to." I'll even like, I've done this
No,
before. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
"Here's this show or
yeah,
this song or something. I want you to take this piece and do something dope with it, and you will do what you do
yeah,
with
yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it'll
mm,
be cool." But
Right,
it's
right.
like that's not what I was thinking.
Specifics.
I was thinking something more.
I know. I
You
get
know what
that.
I
I
mean?
get
And
that.
so I go into this app and I'm like, "This is what I'm thinking,"
Mm.
and
yeah.
now my thought is being portrayed in real time.
Yeah.
That's something else, man.
And
But you're
as a
never
beat
gonna steal.
maker,
You're never gonna replace my pen, my
yeah,
passion, or the way that I approach things or view things. Like that's what
mm.
I'm getting at.
Hey, but as a beat maker, that's something I've always strived to be, bro.
Yeah,
Is a text prompt ass person where I could take
Mm.
somebody's idea and translate it. And I mean, I've even used kind of that framework. Like I've always had this whole thing with trying to bring these ideas to life, and they're so unique. You know, when you have a consultation and you're working with someone and you really listen to them, you can figure it out. And
Yeah,
once you figure it out,
yeah, and
bro, you
yeah. I
can't be
wasn't
that
writing
far
them
from
off
it.
either. Like sometimes I'll give them something and they'll come up with something that I wasn't. It wasn't the direction I was thinking at all. But then I hear it and I'm like, this is fucking.
No, no, no.
This
I
is
know. I
fire.
know. I know.
I mean, something could inspire you, of course, but
Yeah,
what if you could get that idea, reach the pinnacle of that thought?
yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
And as a person that has a background in that and has had a huge succession rate, I mean, with literally talking people into these deals
yeah.
to do something with their music. And yes, you know, we could save it for another conversation. There's a small percentage of songs of beats that I sell that even get published because
Yeah, what up?
I'm dealing with the multitude of people that see the music industry and the way that and what they want to do with their music. They go a lot of different ways about it. You know, some publish
yeah.
the songs, some put them on SoundCloud, some go and make whole music videos to them, and they're essentially for their friends. You know, but it's not out there in the open like that. I mean, it's essentially for social media. There's never no ad campaigns. There's never all these different roadblocks
All
come
right.
into play where their music is only getting less than 1,000 views, and that's what you need to get any kind of royalties or any kind of publishing
Yeah, yeah,
in this new age of
yeah.
that's ever changing, right? So you got the streaming thing with the 1 cent thing being introduced, and it's kind of provoking this whole other conversations about,
Of
you know,
course.
should we even be dealing with that streaming business model? Is there a direct to consumer model that we need to
That's
A lot of heads are
embrace?
doing the direct
that's
to
the thing.
consumer model today.
It's like
Mm,
as an MC, I'm thinking about that. Talking to a
yeah.
lot of people that come into the show as MCs,
Mm,
and they're thinking about the same thing. And it's like
mm,
interesting how at one point we're all about streaming, but now we're like, nah, let's go back to the actual.
yeah.
Here's a CD.
Here's
Here's
the
a tape.
vinyl.
Here's a vinyl.
Personally, me, I've never streamed a goddamn thing. Personally, like I mean,
It's amazing, bro.
as far as publishing, No, but then there's people that I sell the beats exclusive to. They can go do whatever the hell they
Whatever
want,
they
with that,
want,
bro.
once they got it, yeah, dog.
But there are some beats that I still, they've only had a couple listens, like with other people. There's certain instrumentals that I build beat tapes, like
Yeah.
like The Conductor, or Derringer or Alchemist, where you build these beat tapes and they're essentially these soundtracks that are not necessarily for everyone. You know what I'm saying? They're designed for a different type of purpose. And, I look at, creating these ideas and bringing stuff forth. There has to be so much groundwork and so much things laid out for stuff to even come about. And I take a lot of things into consideration. And the biggest thing with working with artists is trying to figure out what they like, so I can achieve a particular brainwave, essentially,
100%.
so we could get on the same wavelength. And now bro's inspired to start flowing all of a sudden. He's like, bro, I never even do. I don't know what it is, but every time you come around, Kreach, I'm always going to be in the zone. Now, if not everybody has that kind of experience, because not everybody is open to that. And I'm trying to work with people, bro, like not work against them. And that's kind of, people put their walls up creatively and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They might,
Sure.
I might go to a studio where a person just wants to play their music all night. And I'm like, I thought I came over here we can connect and the brainwaves and,
Well, you thought wrong, Kreacher.
I thought wrong, literally. So at the end of the day, bro, the music stuff is I'm taking all of these different elements, the infinity stones, you feel me, and making, trying to snap my finger with it, and trying to develop a story, and I've done it throughout the years, and I have stuff all over YouTube, just on all the different kind of channels and stuff.
Yeah, man.
I've attempted a lot of different stuff, but these beat clips, or these things I sent in to play. I got a koala beat, that I produced, and just showing. It's just an idea. It's just me just putting out an idea. I literally made it 5 minutes or 10 minutes before I made the video. That's where the improv stuff comes in. Then the second beat is a West Coast beat, a Zapp and Roger flip. Not everybody touches Zapp and Roger stuff.
I fucks with Zapp and Roger, man.
So I found a little endpoint and built it from the ground up. I'm big on layering drums. I've always been fascinated with the different techniques of how to get stuff to have a analog sound, to push things, to compress things in a certain kind of way. And then the third beat is actually something unique as well. It's a city pop sample that I flipped, and I kind of put some modern drums on it.
Audio Share.
It's kind of, yeah. Okay. So essentially, Audio Share is a file manager that I have on the iPhone. And I have all my sample libraries, drums, now in this new age, you got multi-kits. So you got loop creator kits that come with like accents, phrases, different patterns, like different melodic layers. And you could build your own loops and your own samples. You can sauce up a style and make a concoction of all kind of different stuff. Wow. So the third beat is it's a clip from that Madam Web movie.
No, that's great.
There's a scene in there, that kind of, it's a transformative scene. And of course that movie flopped and it has a kind of a bad rap. But essentially there's stuff, there's scenes in movies, there's things that the visuals could do to the mind, if a picture consists of 1,000 words, what is a little, like 1 minute clip, Yeah. Especially the subtitles, if you read the subtitles and it kind of takes on a frame of its own. Yeah. I didn't stage that. And I literally made this third clip, this third link. I made it probably like 10 minutes before I jumped on the podcast.
Oh. That's incredible, man. So we got something brand new and fresh, Kreacher K right here. Puff, I do believe it's we are in that window. Let's listen to some of this. Let's take a look at some of this. Let's talk about it, man.
All right. Well, I all of a sudden had a technical difficulty.
Of course.
While you're setting it up, Puff, Kreach, what's up with this? It's a bracket like this. Bracket within with the X trademark. What is that?
So that was it's essentially my logo. It's something that because I had to take in consideration the symbolic world, right? I had to have something that would represent the music, potentially the origins, potentially any kind of origin. So I shouldn't really separate the origins of the music with the origins of, let's say, whatever comes up to you to punch the bully, or whatever comes to you, like a gut instinct to tells you to stay quiet and just to take, you know, the insults or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all from the same origin. So essentially my logo is a story being told, and it's essentially what the third link on the on the music clips, where it's a story being told every day you wake up, and it's a psychological one. You know, maybe there's a part of maybe a spiritual kind of thing going on too, but
I
for the
love
most
it.
part, Kreacher K, the name behind it is, you know, we claim, you know, the human creature claims to be the most superior creature above,
Yeah.
you know, all other species. And I feel like the human creature is the most manipulated creature that there is.
Yeah, that's great.
Uh, and, you know, the whole creature thing, it kind of spells out, you know, Krea. It kind of is like um, you know, it's like a snake eating itself kind of thing with the letters, which brings us back
Yo,
to
I
the
hear
QWERTY
you. Yeah,
thing.
K to K in between.
Yeah, and then the middle is ache, which is like the heartache or the headache, that comes with, you know, just the human experience, the artist's survival, and, you know, having that intuitive background. Okay, so the story being told in the logo is when you wake up every day, but essentially it's what happens when you listen to one of my beats. So I'm trying to develop kind of like a cymatic sort of experience that
Okay.
takes place when you view the artwork, and it's kind of something that a lot of different artists and painters and uh, you know, historians have looked into, the psychology behind a creative person, and just the origins of where their inspiration comes from. And my inspiration comes from everyone else, you know, because
Yeah.
I kind of feel like, you know, that's the ultimate medium, and that's what sampling essentially is. You know, you're taking all these parts and, you know, creating something new with them. You're putting them through an AI engine, which is your mind, you know,
Yeah.
or at least the first AI engine, or at least the earliest that we could account for. And so, bro, the music is and I mean, the funny thing about the music is that it's just an idea. It's just one of the many, you know, but I choose to, you know, focus in and you know, try to showcase some of my best work.
So, Puff, are we good?
Yeah, I mean, this is what we got to work with. You ready?
Tap
It's
in. Let's go.
yeah, it's gonna be Instagram. Can you see right now what I can't see it? I can't
Yeah.
see what I
Yeah.
see.
It shows your computer screen.
It's not doing the infinite thing, is it?
It's just got the email. That's all
Okay,
it's got.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So when I was in StreamYard, it was the
Putting
infinite.
everybody's government on blast and shit.
Oh, sure.
Trying to steal all of our podcast money, man. Crank this up, though.
We can't hear nothing.
Oh, is it muted?
Yeah, I think it
Yes.
is muted.
No, it's not. It's not muted.
There we go. There we go.
That's from my end.
Restart that, Junks.
Yeah, it's in the middle of the joint, John.
This is what the beat sounds like. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Uh,
Faded out.
can't hear nothing. There we go.
You mean, but that's from my headphones. You're hearing it from.
Oh, it's from your headphones.
Yeah,
I mean, start it over. Oh man.
because it's just really soft. I mean, I guess from
It's
Yeah.
we can hear it loud and clear, bro.
We can hear it with your headphones.
okay. Then I'll keep my head close.
I'm going to sample from 5 different sound sources. First things first. Let's chop up that classic Vinnie Paz sample from the song Last Breath.
Yeah,
Then
last
let's
breath.
chop up this cool blues sample from West Montgomery.
That's
and
a
you know we
great.
got to
That's
add
a
that
great
acoustic
album.
guitar from this Pink Floyd
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
And then let's add a Fleetwood Mac sample and utilize
All this different stuff.
And then we'll finalize the beat with some accents and phrases from one of the newest Essentia Mac Shooter multi-kits. And this is what the beat sounds like. Let me know what you think in the comments.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, that drop right there. And then you're manipulating this shit over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, on the effects right there.
Yeah, that's cool. And you can hear like when you're listening to it.
Oh yeah, that's tight. That's tight. I kind of want to flow to this.
I want to fucking
You
rap
know,
this
like-
so bad.
I know I had it going for a little bit. Yeah, BA was like, man, I'm trying to jump on that.
That's
Yeah,
what
like,
I'm
oh,
saying,
bro.
man. Like, that's tight.
Yeah, yeah. This is like my era too. Like this is that rhythm that I like to flow
Today,
over at
we've
this tape.
sampled 5 different sound sources.
Shit is hot,
That
dude. That
was
shit is
tight.
dope.
That
That
was
was
tight.
that was super dope.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, you know, it's just me moving on an idea. You know, I made that one on the 2nd, on April 2nd.
That's cool, man.
So I mean, I just I was like, man, you know, it's got to look a certain way. It's got to
And this
be
and this
appealing.
is also just encompassed exactly what we've been talking about. How like again, I mean that Fleetwood Mac, then that Pink Floyd, that Benny Paz, like there's all these different like from everywhere.
And that West one, because man, that's got some great samples. That album, that like old school, like funky jazz, like that, man.
Man,
I know that album. Like, yeah.
I mean, a lot of those samples. I mean, I just kind of randomly just went through them. Like,
yeah, that's fun, man.
the Fleetwood Mac was on Easter. That we heard it on Easter. You see what I'm saying? Like, all the different elements to that beat. That they were all just different fragments of stuff that I was introduced to throughout the last like week or so.
That's fucking crazy.
And
man.
you just move on the idea, and then you just put it all together. So yeah, there's gonna be more to come, bro, for sure.
And I'm still bobbing my head to it.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? I can still hear it. Yo, Pup, we got what's up with the second one now? We ready?
Mm-hmm.
What's the second one? Oh yeah, the Zapp and Roger one.
Yeah, man. I'm excited.
It's a long time in the making right here.
Can you hear it?
Oh shit, yeah. Come on, dog. This is like
Got that C-Walk going down.
I know. I can hear like DJ
Okay.
Warren G would be all over this shit.
Like cool and smooth, DJ Quick, toes are trying to touch. I need a bit. I need a Too Short. I can see. I can see everybody.
Young MC or something. Yeah. Right down the block there. People forget to stop.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
bro.
shit is funky as fuck, bro. This shit is funky.
Yeah, the story of Roger Troutman is wild, bro. If you look into the history,
I'm gonna have to look into it. I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna look into it.
Yeah, bro. He had an untimely death. You know what I'm saying? He's killed by his older brother.
Damn.
Killed by his older brother.
Yeah, and
it's like Marvin Gaye killed by his pop.
God damn, bro.
Yeah. And essentially he was buried next to his brother.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So
sleeping forever with the enemy.
And what it was that bro wanted to, because I mean he was damn near 40 years old, and he wanted to.
Damn.
He wanted to do his own thing.
Tragedy.
And so he goes and has a little meeting with his brother, and they have a fight about money. And
it's always fucking money. Man.
Yeah, but that beat was tight, man. I got a younger brother who's like up and coming as an MC. And he's like sharing all these beats with me that are like funky. Like it's like, yo, I'm like, you really into that funk right now? And he's like, yeah, man, I'm really into that shit. And he heard that shit, and he'd be like this, like off the show, he'd just be like writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could turn some people off. They're just like kind of squeamish, like, "Oh no, you're playing that," you know.
No,
but
dude, that's like my era, though, man. That whole G-Funk era, all that stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
Yo,
Ice Cube, all that, yeah, man. That's my jokes.
All that, yeah.
All the Death Row, all the Ruthless, all of that shit, and like, DJ Quick and them, and
South Central Cartel
and them,
like all that shit, man.
Yeah.
The West Coast,
man. Yeah. That whole era of sound is like my genesis. That's the kind of beat that I'd write to and have a fucking blast doing it.
Yeah. No, yeah, that sample, that was the little extended version. That was the Talkbox player Roger. That was his first project called The Facets of Roger. And that was actually Headed to the Grapevine sample.
Whoa!
Headed to the Grapevine. But the extended version of it has this crazy melody, or I should say this medley, where it breaks down, has this whole area that I never heard nobody touch, and it would be the most memorable part that I just knew about throughout the years. Like, oh yeah, like that's crazy.
That's
So
one thing
yeah,
I love about producing, man, is looking at the crates, finding those little
little jewels,
jewels, man, that nobody's used before. Like I sampled this one beat that everybody sampled, but everybody sampled the same sample, the same part. It's the same song. It's an AZ, not AZ, Cormega. Anyways, I sampled it, but a different part, and it's the same song, but gotta do my own thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. I mean, you got that next one?
Oh yeah. This one is like an unreleased beat.
Yeah, I made like just yesterday type beat, or this
no,
morning rather.
The video was made this morning. The beat, I made it in December of last year.
Oh, okay, word up.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
City pop.
Yeah.
Man.
That's it.
And I made this beat on Koala.
Yo.
You know what I'm saying?
This one's on Koala.
This one's on Koala, bro. Yep. I made it when I was at work.
That's dope. Chill.
Can you hear AZ doing something?
Yeah, I can hear AZ doing something. Yeah,
a lot of cats, man. I can hear Nas doing something. I get Crazy Bone on this record.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ice Cube would be
you can hear like Britney Spears. And
all them heads. I didn't even think about the R&B. Yeah. I was just thinking about rappers, man. I can hear like Grouch and Eli on this shit.
No, that's
Atmosphere. Like, there's mad heads. Yeah. Plug. Myself. That's cool, man. Yeah, this was the one that was probably the most like intrigued by it because I'm not as familiar with city pop. Honestly, which sounded like the second you said it, I'm like, this is like Japanese, like K-pop or something, right? But this is definitely.
Well, it's from like the 80s, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's kind of similar to AOR rock,
brighter kind of sound to it.
But it's got like a funk element to it.
Yeah,
to some degree. The chord progressions are going in that direction. Yeah, and that was a record. I came across that sample on Instagram. And I just ripped the Instagram video and sampled the video directly into Koala.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I like that.
That's freaking epic.
That's cool, man, because it kind of stepped out of like because Johnny Warbucks here was talking about how he can hear all these MCs, and I was like, well, no, I can hear like Britney Spears, I can hear like that kind of like singing to it, not necessarily Britney Spears, but that kind of genre where it's like not necessarily rap, and I was like, so that beat itself kind of touches both worlds, which is really good. You know what I mean? Like my beats don't touch nothing but just one world. You know?
You stay in one pocket.
Yeah, like it's cool, man. It's
and
cool.
like in the production behind it, I used a whole bunch of different like acapella vocal kind of chops and stuff, and just working the equipment. There's techniques where if you don't even want to make a beat, you just got to work the equipment and it'll make something.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you blindly create like that and just kind of, like I was saying, it's kind of like a point and shoot type of workflow. You're just going in, you're pulling stuff from Audio Share, you're hitting this blue button that automatically imports it into Koala in a flash, bro. And you hit the pads and it'll just open up and boom, 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 boom. And then I find the sample, I find the vocal sample and then I tune it. The tuning technique is essentially like how you get things to sound whatever way, if you have a knob, and you don't have any kind of like any dials on it, like where it clicks, like, like 1, 2, 3, 4, if you could get in the middle, like you could reach a you know what I mean? And then, and so I'm flipping through different things and that beat is just, authentic, or like, why is it, why did I choose that third beat, or that third clip is it just has a whole different feel. It's like a sound that I'm developing that's using that workflow, where I sat down, I created it, But at first, but of course, I first found the sample. You know, you have to
Mhm.
take in consideration where it could go. You make the huge executive decision to throw some drums under it. Who knows what those are going to be? You know what I'm saying?
Who knows?
And I feel like I got that
And
one
bass
right.
lines too, if you want to add.
Bass
See,
line.
that's interesting because like I go reverse. I do
Mm,
the drums, and then
yeah.
I'll get the sample, and then the
Mm.
sample then like tells me what kind of bass and melody should go
Oh, okay.
afterwards. So it's interesting
Yeah.
how like we all come at it like different approaches, but yeah, I mean at the end of the
Mm.
day, it still gets done. But listen, man, I'm so
Mm.
sorry to have to do this, man, but we are gonna have to finish this off.
Creature,
Yeah.
you got any last words, and then we'll get out.
I got a question. Actually, I have a last word.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, there you
okay.
go.
All right, my last word is this. So, if people wanted to hire you to get beats, like how can they? What's the best way to reach out to you if you're open for working with people?
Well,
What do
you
you
know,
prefer?
I mean, I want people to know beforehand. Like, it's the most important thing, bro. Is that I adopted the direct to consumer model when I first started this beat making thing. So
Yeah.
you contacted me directly. So through my Instagram page, that's where, it's like they say, oh, you don't have a BeatStars or Airbit or these different platforms that showcase beats and stuff like that. I'm no, I mean I've attempted them a couple of times just to try to be a part of the bandwagon thing, but Instagram is essentially the way to contact me to get
Okay.
to do the video calls, to do the video sessions, and I do daily deals. All the
Yeah.
beats are exclusive, so I make them with the person, one on one, or with the group of people. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
And we create it. I mean, essentially, I want to work one on one with the person because there's a bunch of heads. Then they'll try to take. Oh well, I gave you that idea. I need. I'm going to claim some ownership to that idea, and it creates into this whole this business chaos, where
Yeah.
Hmm.
people start to claim points on records and it
Mhm.
becomes a bigger thing. I
Mhm.
mean, essentially, when I work with someone, it's like they come with me with the contracted idea. So it's like a work for hire, independent contractor sort of thing. And I take a look at the specs. I give them, I guess you could say like an invoice or like a rough estimate. And, we look at,
Nice.
like a consultation, which will give way to what they're working on. What do they have I mean, I don't want to well, we
You
have
don't,
this package, or
you don't,
oh, well,
yeah.
have you got your insurance? Like, do you have a lawyer? Like, I'm not really trying to, if I mean, I could say, I mean, there's kind of a dialogue, what I mean, that takes place, and if a person wants to work on something or they have an idea for something, like, we can go where they want to go.
You feel it out and they can reach you through Instagram, the best way is DM you.
Yeah, DM me directly, and man, who knows? I
Yeah.
mean, endless
If
possibilities.
the timing's right and the vibes
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Scheduling out sessions. I've been really on that. Hour sessions, or you can do a 3 hour block, and I can make as
Yeah.
many beats in the 3 hours. But if we're talking the whole time, nothing's gonna get done. But if you come with, hey, I got these 10 different beat ideas, let's try to get through as many of them as possible. I got these sample ideas. I got these type of drums that I like to rap on, because
Makes
essentially
it
that's what
makes
you're
it
rapping on.
it makes it easy. I wish they did that all the time.
It would just speed through it. I mean, the person
Yeah,
will get
and good shit
eight
will come
beats or
out.
something.
Really good. You would get really good
I
shit.
mean, I guess that would be that
Mm.
would have to be the model that one follows if you're going to do that. Instead of making the beat and then putting it out there and hoping that somebody wants it,
That's it.
you
Yeah.
Yeah.
actually you get somebody that talks to you and be like, "Yo, I want this kind of
Mm.
sound,
Yeah.
these samples," and
Much preferred.
yeah,
But also, they might not know what they want, and so there's a whole other
Yeah.
ball game with that too.
That's that
Yeah.
whole other side to it. Which is the
Mhm.
Yeah,
next time you're on the show, let's get down with the gritty.
yeah, seriously.
My man, I
It
appreciate
was
you
a
being
great
on the
show.
show,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, a
Here
lot
we
of
go,
content.
man. Here we go, man. Once again, we appreciate everyone out there rocking with us here at the Rappers Corner. Please, please like, subscribe, comment, and share the content with other hip hop heads in your life. Follow us right here on YouTube, and then check our content out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X.
all of them.
Please follow and support us
All
individually at Johnny Warbucks, at Sir Puff a Lot, at K Red from the Rappers Corner. Please support the artists. All right, you can find Kreacher K all over social media. You can find Kreacher K on you. Look up Kreacher K on YouTube, X, SoundCloud, ReverbNation, Kreacher K on Facebook, Kreacher K 616 on Instagram and TikTok. head over to any of these sites to hear this man's sound, and then get your Cash App ready and prepare to throw down some cream, because his beats are for sale. All right, the tracks are regularly coming out, staying fresh and current, and you're going to want to go home with one of the beats to apply that extra heat to your next project. So don't sleep on the real Kreacher K. Well, Chico bangs from LA to the Bay, and for those willing to pay, it's the same thing for around y'all way.
Look at this guy. Look at this MC.
We out here, y'all. Blah, blah,
For
blah,
real.
blah. I'm Johnny Warbucks. Peace, man.
Peace,
Peace, Kreacher.
Peace.
Peace. Peace.
Peace.
We out.
Peace.